Hello. I know I said that I was going to review one of these books, or Uzumaki. You can see my alarm clock in the reflection of it. Anyways, I said I was gonna do one of those for my next video, but I woke up this morning and I thought, what do I want to do today? So I looked at my phone and I looked at what's been going on drama-wise with Gabbie Hanna, Joy Graceffa, etc. Adam McIntyre. If you're watching this, Adam McIntyre, I love you. I love you. I give my heart to you. You're beautiful. Sorry. So that reminded me. I have these two books on my shelf, and I want to be on Gabbie Hanna's shit list. Because I'm already on my own shit list, because I hate myself. So, you know, why not be on somebody else's? So, that's what we're doing today.
This is a non-copyrighted intro.
First, we're going to look at adultolescence. I'm going to pick
3 poems.
Which I know is not a very good representation of this whole book, but most people have already covered a lot of these poems. But there are only 2, maybe 3 of these that I have problems with, or like I can really comment on very directly.
Alright, so while we watch my computer over there, I'm just going to put a little editor's note in. I was going to put in 2 poems from Dandelion, but I have not got the energy to do that shit, so oh well, we're just going to look at adultolescence poems. No big deal, I just did not have the energy for any sort of Dandelion bullshit. If you want stuff about Dandelion, I can do that, but I'll need to prepare a little more than I had for this video. I literally just, this is first take, first edit, basically do it all in the first take. If I don't like it, I get rid of it. If I do like it, I keep it. Yeah. So I liked the adultolescence part of the video, but I hated the dandelion part of the video, so I'm just getting rid of the dandelion part of the video, and I'm putting this in as a little disclaimer.
But I have 3 in mind here. One that I quite like, which I will read first, so that Gabbie won't kill me. I'm not sending a hate mob after you, Gabbie. I have no subscribers. I have literally, nobody's watching this. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Anyways, I'm just doing this for my own pleasure. My pleasure is showing that shit poetry is shit. I will say one thing first. The one thing about this book is that there are a lot of poems that were more like tweets and more like thoughts than actual poems. This is explained by a little part in the acknowledgements.
To all my followers and supporters, thank you for standing by me throughout the years. You were there when I was sad, tweeting limericks at 5 a.m. and telling me to write a poetry book.
So, I will give you that, Gabbie. It was not you that first thought, oh, I should make a poetry book. It was your followers who saw you tweeting these little sad things at 5 a.m. and thought, you should write a poetry book. And you took their advice. I would too if I had fans. I don't, but anyways. I don't blame you for having poems that are like tweets. I do blame you for some of the, one of the poems here, which I have a big problem with. And sadly, it's one that somebody else has already talked about. I don't know if anyone's talked about anxiety. I'm gonna talk about anxiety, cut. I know that cut has been talked about by Rachel Oates, and new. Anxiety is on page 27, cut is on page 61, and new is on page 97. Okay, so if you have the book, you can follow along with me. Anxiety.
There isn't a cause that you could explain, but I'll claw my way in like a cat in the rain. I don't pretend to make much sense, but I'll twist up your nerves like a barbed wire fence. If you find yourself without a qualm, I'll send chills up your spine with my icy palm. Although your whole to-do list is ticked, I'll set fire to your cheeks like a match to a wick. No matter the time or the month or the reason, I'll ruin your day without rhyme or reason.
I kind of like that because I have anxiety. I've not been diagnosed with any anxiety disorder or anything. I know that I have anxieties. And I know that they are random. They kind of hold you back from things, like the picture, like the picture shows. She's being held back by a bunch of hands. You can't really see because of my light. Anyways, but I get it. Yeah, true. It's a poem. Definitely didn't have the most thought in it, but definitely had some thought put into it. This one didn't. It had the immediate emotional thought, which is like what happens with most of Gabbie's things. She'll have an immediate reaction to something, and she'll like write something or like say something and not really give a shit about the consequences, about what other people will think about this. Because this poem called Cut, as someone who has had problems with self-harm before, this is not a good poem. Cut.
Her hand trembled around the sharp, cold metal as she looked at her distorted face in the mirror. Just do it, she told her reflection. Don't do it, her reflection replied. Come on, pussy, she shouted at the glass. You're gonna regret this. You always do, the glass warned back. No one gives a shit if I do it, she reminded them both. This is a permanent decision based on a temporary emotion, the mirror pleaded. Hair grows back, dumbass. Snip.
Okay. Immediately. Don't do this. Don't do this. This is like the first rule of anything. Don't do this. Okay? Just don't do this. I have both cut my hair and cut my skin before. That's not something to romanticize. This is romanticizing. This is romanticizing it. That's what you're doing. And also, you're kind of making a mockery of it. Now, the poem before, it did a very good job of the, like, it's about adult things, but it's put in like a childish way. That's done pretty well here in the anxiety poem. Not here. It's just, she knows that she does this. She cuts her hair impulsively, and she thought, oh, I can make a connection with self-harm. She didn't think that there are people who self-harm. Maybe that's just me. Anyways, that poem is not a good poem, but that's a poem that somebody else has already covered in a much better way. Go watch Rachel Oates' video. She's very cool. New is basically cut, but better. It is a haircutting poem again, but it doesn't do what Cut did.
Heartbroken women cut their hair in hopes that removing dead ends will somehow make them feel alive again.
Okay. Cool. Though it is a bit like a tweet. But, again, there was the whole thing about followers and shit like that, so who really cares? It's just, you could have just left it with new and gotten rid of Cut. But Cut was a longer poem, new was a tweet, so who really wins in this situation? Not me, because I still have this fucking book. That's all I can really say about these books. I don't really know if anybody wants to see another one of these where I look at some other poems and give more of a point of view than, yeah, that's a poem, I guess. That's a tweet, I guess. I don't really like this, I guess. Then go ahead, leave it in the comments, whatever. See ya, motherfuckers.